develop the concept of it together. We talked a lot about, you know, the importance of a name. It is really important on the web to have a catchy name, and I think that the name is unusual. You have to think about it, but it's basically the logic of the mob. This show is street-based. We talk to people on the street every single day, and we'll have other segments too, but it's cultivating the, you know, the logic of people and discussing it and exploring what.
What is the show designed to be? I watched the first episode on Friday, and that's where you introduce the concept. You say, okay, if you want a news show on the web, what do you expect it to be? What are you looking for? But that was kind of an introduction. So what is it going to be every day? We're going to see it 6 days a week.
6 days a week, and that's going to sort of be flexible too. We might do more pieces of content a week. We might release some pieces of content just to the CBS mobile zone or CBS mobile platform, so it'll just go out on cell phones, and we won't have to worry so much about whether the content is immediate. But some of our content is going to be, you know, we cover a story today and we post it tomorrow. Some of it may be more immediate than that. But just like with Wallstrip, when we started Wallstrip, we knew it was going to be one stock a day and following trends in the marketplace. But we didn't know what the show was going to look like or whether we'd have the opportunity to do satire or, you know, sketch comedy. And we did all of that because we worked it into, over time, we evolved the style of the show. Right now, we're just born. We don't really know what the style of the show is going to be.
So you're kind of testing it out right now, would you say? Just kind of getting a feel for what works, and that's the whole point of the web, is you can tweak it up as you go, right?
Right. Although there's more expectation on us now that we've had one successful property and we were acquired by CBS. Now the pressure is on us from the gate to have an amazing show, and we're feeling that pressure, but we're answering that pressure by trying to really push the envelope on, first of all, our website. It's very interactive. It's taking advantage of all social media, and the content itself, we want it to be sort of shocking. We want it to be sort of not something you're going to see on network.
Give me an example from over the weekend or in the coming days. What's that sort of shocking story that we'll see?
We have a story coming up. We read in the news that Italian researchers had proven incontrovertible evidence using ultrasound that the G-spot exists. So there you go. So I took that story out on the street and asked men and women, you know, this was in Manhattan, but although we're traveling a lot for the show, asking them, do you believe that the G-spot exists?
What do people say? Of course I'm watching. Discussing the G-spot on PTV and TV Week. Does it exist?
Well, you know, these Italian researchers have medical proof that it exists, but what's interesting is that people, general public, they don't really want to know from a medical test whether it exists. They want to know from the experience of sex whether it exists, and they're willing to go, you know, the rest of their lives searching. And so we made a funny episode about that, how we went out sort of assuming that everyone would be like, oh, that's so interesting that you can take this test, but in the end we found that they just want to leave it up to fate.
You just got to try, right? You got to see if you can find it. That's what it comes down to.
Want to keep men guessing about where it is and where, you know, whether it exists or not too.
Okay,
but that's, you know, that's kind of that will be on the fluffier side of the kind of coverage that we're doing. We're also covering the election in depth, but in a different way than the networks cover the election. We're also taking stories that should be on the front page, maybe. I mean, in our opinion, our humble opinion, and that aren't on the front page.
Give an example of that.
Well, the Native American healthcare initiative has been funded by the government since the 50s, and President Bush threatened to veto it. And that's on page 17 or page 25 of, you know, the New York Times. And we thought, that's really interesting. He's going to veto this. What do people that live near casinos and live, you know, what do Native Americans think about this? Do they use the healthcare bill? Do they take advantage of those resources? How many people are going to be affected if it's cut? So we went to a small town in Connecticut near a casino, and we posed that question to people. Should President Bush veto the bill, or should we keep it around? Are people surviving because they have healthcare coverage? So that's kind of an example of a little more obscure story.
No, what I want you to explain is, what is the relationship with CBS? We know that CBS acquired Wallstrip, and this is a CBS show as well, and sort of how does that work?
So when they acquired Wallstrip, there were a couple of important things for us. They wanted to bring us all on as a team. They wanted to keep me independent so that I could pursue other projects at the same time, because part of the web, part of the, you know, being on the web, you shouldn't be limited to just being on the web. You should be on, you know, cross-platform. So they let us stay in our own studio. We're still producing the show with the same team, and one of the things that they really encouraged was for us to explore other verticals. So take Wallstrip and do it to other things, basically. Wallstrip the news or Wallstrip politics, and so that's what we're doing with Moblogic.
So is CBS distributing the show as well? Are they distributing, and where do they distribute it?
It's distributed on CBS.com. It's available anywhere that you watch video online, whether it's YouTube, VO, etc., etc. You can go to our website, obviously, moblogic.tv. But the whole, our philosophy and CBS's philosophy about web video is that it should be distributed wildly. We should inseminate the planet with our video and just let people find it wherever they, naturally like to watch video. If they want
and now, I think a great example for viewers, if you get a chance to go to moblogic.tv, that's where I was on Friday night when I checked it out. And I love it because you've got just the big video up there. It says this is video, this is a video site, but you have all the other, like the subscribe button and the embed me in Facebook and watch me on iTunes. And I really think that web shows have to do that. I love seeing all of that functionality. Talk a little bit about how important that is.
It's important. It's important because the web is about customization, and the reason that we've all fallen in love with it, especially for receiving the kind of content that you want to watch, is because you can do it your way. So the player is one of the largest players on the web. It was produced by blip.tv, and it's a 16:9 player. It's beautiful, beautiful quality, just amazing functionality. And around it, as you said, there are all the different ways that you can use the content, because it's not really valid and valuable if you can't do something with it. Put it on your blog, or send it to your friends. Those are the things that are really important, because it's all about on demand.
And now, Lindsay, you are one of the breakout stars of the web, obviously, and clearly that's not going to happen for everybody, but just sort of as a final thing for viewers, what would you say if you had to share 2 or 3 tips or 1 tip or whatever it is in terms of how to make this work? What would that be for other aspiring web hosts or stars or whatever?
Number 1, pick your team really wisely. Make sure that on your team, no matter how many people it is, if it's 2 people or if it's 10 people, that somebody or everyone really understands the web. It's not the same as television, and it's not the same as theater. It's not the same. You have to have people that can distribute it online, and that takes, technological savvy that not every performer, not every newscaster, etc. has. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to take risks in contacting people to let them know about your content. You really have to promote yourself. And number 3 probably is that you have to take feedback. You have to be willing to just put yourself out there
and tweak the show if need be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're not growing viewership, then you need to change the show.
You kind of have to be a pimp online, but I mean that in a good way, and I mean that in a real sort of affectionate way. But you're right, you have to be willing just to tell everybody, because the blogosphere and web video has been built on link love and sharing, spreading the word. So
definitely, that's so important. Also, from the first day of Wallstrip, I put my real email just right on the site, and to receive feedback from viewers. And some people thought I was crazy because I'm going to get stalkers, whatever. The stalkers are our fans, and we need to hear from them, or else it's not a two-way street, and something that's not a two-way street on the internet is just not going to fly.
And I think that's one of the differences too with local broadcasters. If you were to go to a local TV station's website, you might not necessarily find the email of the anchor, so that's an important point.
Go to like a junk mailbox that they never check. I mean, that's an assumption, but I think that's pretty true. It's changing now, but that's really true. The people that watch our show, that comment most interactively with the show and most frequently, they know that I'm a real person, and they can reach out and email me or text me or anything, anytime.
Twitter, MySpace, Facebook, whatever it is.
Facebook friends.
I'm Daisy Whitney. I'm reporting for TV Week and BTV. I'm here with Lindsay Campbell, host of Moblogic. Check it out.
Thanks, Daisy.
Thank you.